The confrontation was tense. The group didn't want anyone to find out what they had been hiding. But Linda, fueled by a mother's love and the truth she had uncovered, didn't back down. She barged in, demanding to see her family. And then, after what felt like an eternity, she saw them. Mark, older, his face wary but still full of life, and Emily, now a young woman, her eyes wide with shock as she stared at her mother. It was an overwhelming, surreal moment. Linda rushed to them, tears streaming down her face, unable to believe that after all these years, they were standing in front of her. "I never stopped looking for you," Linda whispered through her tears. Mark reached out, his voice hoarse. "I'm so sorry, Linda. I never wanted you to suffer like this. But they wouldn't let us go. They made us stay hidden for so long. I couldn't risk contacting you. It was too dangerous. But I've always loved you." The weight of those words hit Linda like a tidal wave. All these years of pain and confusion melted away in that moment. It was a complicated and painful truth, but it was the truth. Mark and Emily had been forced into hiding, not by their own choice, but by the ruthless actions of an organization that had kept them trapped. And yet, they were free now, together, safe. As Linda embraced her family, she knew the battle wasn't over. The organization that had kept them apart would still be out there, lurking in the shadows. But she also knew that nothing, not even the most powerful forces, could tear her family apart again. They had been through too much to be broken now. The road ahead would be difficult. The fight for justice would take time. But for the first time in 22 years, Linda felt a sense of peace. The missing pieces had been put back together. The truth had been revealed. And no matter what came next, she had her family. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they walked out of that mansion, Linda knew that nothing, no one, could ever take away the love they shared. They were survivors. And their story was far from over. As the courtroom awaited Lisa's response, the weight of the revelations hung heavily in the air. The truth about the manipulations and deceit was coming to light, and the fate of Emily's relationship with her father hung in the balance. The judge, after a moment of contemplation, addressed the court. "Given the new evidence and testimony, I'm inclined to reconsider the motion to terminate Mr. David's parental rights. However, I will allow both parties to present any further evidence before making a final decision." The courtroom buzzed with whispers as the judge called for a brief recess. David approached his attorney, hope rekindled in his eyes. "Do you think this will be enough?" His attorney placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "It's a significant development. Emily's testimony has shed light on the situation, and the letter corroborates her claims. We have a strong chance." Meanwhile, Lisa sat with her attorney, her face a mixture of anger and fear. "How did she find that letter?" she hissed. Her attorney shook his head. "It doesn't matter now. We need to focus on damage control." As the recess ended, the judge called the court back to order. "We will now hear any additional evidence or testimony." David's attorney stood. "Your Honor, we would like to call Miss Sarah Thompson, a child psychologist, to the stand." Sarah, a respected professional in her field, took the stand and was sworn in. David's attorney began, "Miss Thompson, can you explain the potential psychological impact on a child who is led to believe that a loving parent is neglectful or uninterested?" Sarah nodded. "Such manipulation can lead to feelings of abandonment, low self-esteem, and trust issues. It can severely damage the child's relationship with the alienated parent and cause long-term emotional harm. Based on Emily's testimony and the evidence presented, do you believe she has been subjected to such manipulation?" "Yes," Sarah replied firmly. Emily's belief that her father was neglectful, despite evidence to the contrary, suggests she was influenced to think negatively of him. The judge turned to Lisa's attorney. "Do you have any questions for the witness?" Lisa's attorney stood. "Miss Thompson, isn't it possible that a parent might withhold information to protect their child from disappointment or harm?" Sarah nodded. "Yes, but consistent patterns of misinformation or deliberate alienation are harmful. Protecting a child is different from manipulating their perception of a parent. The attorney nodded, seemingly satisfied as the courtroom drama unfolded. The intricate web of family dynamics began to unravel, revealing the deep-seated conflicts that had led to this pivotal moment. To fully grasp the gravity of the situation, it's essential to delve into the history of David and Lisa's relationship, understanding the events that transformed their once loving bond into a battleground for their daughter's affection. David and Lisa met during their college years, drawn together by shared interests and dreams. Their relationship blossomed quickly, leading to marriage and the birth of their cherished daughter, Emily. In the early years, their family life seemed idyllic. David was a dedicated father, often seen playing with Emily in the park or helping her with school projects. Lisa, a nurturing mother, took pride in their close-knit family unit. However, as time progressed, cracks began to appear in their relationship. Financial strains, career pressures, and differing parenting styles led to frequent disagreements. David's demanding job required long hours, causing him to miss some family events, which Lisa perceived as neglect. On the other hand, David felt unappreciated for his efforts to provide for the family, leading to feelings of resentment. The tension reached its peak when Lisa discovered that David had been confiding in a female colleague about their marital issues. Although David insisted that the relationship was purely platonic, Lisa felt betrayed. This breach of trust became the catalyst for their separation. Lisa filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences, and was granted primary custody of Emily, with David receiving visitation rights. In the aftermath of the separation, Lisa's resentment towards David deepened. She began to subtly influence Emily's perception of her father. Comments like, "Your dad chose work over us," or "he cares more about his friends than his family," became commonplace. Unbeknownst to David, Lisa was engaging in what psychologists term parental alienation, a process where one parent manipulates a child to turn them against the other parent. This behavior can have long-lasting emotional and psychological effects on the child, leading to feelings of abandonment, low self-esteem, and trust issues. PycaoogYTODAYHEZOM. Emily, caught in the crossfire, began to internalize her mother's sentiments. She started viewing her father's occasional absences not as unfortunate circumstances, but as deliberate choices. The once joyful weekends with David became strained, with Emily often expressing anger or disappointment over perceived slights. David, unaware of the full extent of Lisa's influence, was bewildered by the sudden shift in his daughter's behavior. Lisa's actions escalated over time. She began to limit David's access to Emily, often citing last-minute plans or fabricated illnesses. When David protested, Lisa accused him of being selfish and not considering Emily's needs. She also withheld information about Emily's school events and medical appointments, ensuring that David remained uninformed and consequently absent. Feeling increasingly alienated from his daughter, David sought legal recourse. He filed a motion to enforce his visitation rights, hoping to restore his relationship with Emily. In response, Lisa countered with a petition to terminate David's parental rights, alleging neglect and emotional abuse. She presented a series of incidents, some exaggerated and others fabricated, to paint David as an unfit parent. The legal battle that ensued was arduous. Both parties presented their narratives, each accusing the other of detrimental behavior. The court appointed a child psychologist to evaluate Emily, aiming to discern the truth amidst the conflicting accounts. The psychologist's findings highlighted signs of parental alienation, noting that Emily's negative perceptions of her father were disproportionate to his actions. However, proving parental alienation in court is challenging, as it requires clear evidence of one parent's deliberate attempt to undermine the child's relationship with the other parent. JUDGANTHONYCOM. As the court hearings progressed, Emily's testimony became the focal point. Her initial statements echoed her mother's accusations, portraying David as neglectful and uncaring. However, under cross-examination, inconsistencies emerged. Emily admitted that her beliefs were primarily based on information provided by her mother and that she had limited first-hand experiences to substantiate her claims. The turning point came when David's attorney presented the letter David had written to Emily, expressing his love and his efforts to be part of her life. Emily's discovery of this letter contradicted her mother's narrative, leading to a profound moment of realization. She began to question the validity of her mother's claims and the authenticity of her own feelings towards her father. This revelation set the stage for the climax of the story. The courtroom was now faced with the task of discerning the truth amidst a web of manipulation and deceit. The judge had to consider the psychological impact of Lisa's actions on Emily and determine the best course of action to ensure her well-being. The audience, having witnessed the unraveling of a complex family dynamic, was left in suspense, eager to see how justice would be served and whether the fractured bonds between father and daughter could be mended. In the tense atmosphere of the courtroom, the judge leaned forward, carefully considering the psychologist's findings and Emily's recent revelations. The evidence of parental alienation was compelling, highlighting the subtle yet profound ways Lisa had influenced Emily's perception of her father. The judge recognized the necessity of addressing this manipulation to safeguard Emily's emotional well-being. Turning to Lisa, the judge addressed the gravity of her actions. "Your attempts to sever the bond between Emily and her father are deeply concerning. Such behavior not only harms David but, more critically, jeopardizes Emily's psychological health." The judge emphasized that the court's primary concern was Emily's best interests, which included maintaining a healthy relationship with both parents. The judge then outlined a plan aimed at healing the fractured family dynamics. David was granted increased visitation rights, allowing him more time to rebuild his relationship with Emily. Additionally, the court mandated reunification therapy, a specialized form of counseling designed to repair and strengthen the parent-child bond disrupted by alienation. This therapy would provide a structured environment for Emily and David to reconnect, addressing the emotional barriers that had been erected between them. PSYCHOLKUITODAYYCOM. Lisa was also required to participate in individual counseling sessions to address the underlying issues that led to her alienating behavior. The judge made it clear that any further attempts to undermine David's relationship with Emily could result in more severe legal consequences, including potential changes to the custody arrangement. As the court proceedings concluded, David approached Emily, his heart pounding with a mix of hope and apprehension. "Emily," he began softly, "I know things have been confusing and painful. I want you to know that I've always loved you and will continue to do everything I can to be the father you deserve." Emily looked up at her father, her eyes reflecting a tumult of emotions. The journey ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, there was a glimmer of hope. The court's decision marked not just a legal victory, but the beginning of a healing process for their fractured relationship. In the following months, the family embarked on the challenging path of reconciliation. Reunification therapy sessions provided a safe space for Emily and David to express their feelings, confront past misunderstandings, and rebuild trust. Lisa's counseling sessions helped her recognize the impact of her actions, leading to genuine remorse and a commitment to support Emily's relationship with her father. The process was neither quick nor easy. There were moments of tension, tears, and setbacks. But with time, patience, and professional guidance, the walls of alienation began to crumble. Emily started to see her father not through the distorted lens of past grievances, but as the loving parent he had always strived to be. This journey underscores the profound impact of parental alienation and the importance of early intervention. It highlights the critical role of the legal system in recognizing and addressing such behaviors to protect the well-being of the child. Moreover, it serves as a reminder of the resilience of familial bonds and the possibility of healing, even after deep divisions. As Emily, David, and Lisa worked towards rebuilding their relationships, they learned valuable lessons about forgiveness, understanding, and the enduring strength of family. Their story serves as a testament to the idea that, With commitment and support, it is possible to overcome the scars of the past and forge a healthier, more loving future. In the end, the courtroom battle was not just about legal rights, but about the deeper, more enduring bonds of love and family. It was a stark reminder that while conflicts may arise, the path to resolution lies in empathy, open communication, and a shared commitment to the well-being of those we hold dear.